Sweet Baby Inc. has destroyed another game. I know you're all shocked. The latest one being Winter Burrow. And this story comes to us from friend of the channel, master of the TDS, co-host of Gothic Therapy, and an internet detective with a knack for unearthing what companies would rather keep hidden. And I want to dive into some of the information regarding this studio and why I feel like this is exactly what kills games. Sweet Baby Inc. being a part of it. DEI Consultancy. Amy-Leigh Shaw, a narrative designer and writer at Sweet Baby Inc., celebrated on Bluesky her contribution to the development of Winter Burrow. Pine Creek Games then retweeted her post on Bluesky, further confirming her involvement. Camerin Wild, a narrative designer and writer at Sweet Baby Inc., also let slip in his, that's a dude, about section for a talk that he gave on behalf of Sweet Baby Inc. that he too was involved in Winter Burrow. And yes, that's a nose ring on top of a bunch of other piercings. I know you're all shocked. But this post from Amy-Leigh Shaw, a game I worked on, is releasing, and I couldn't be more excited. Amy-Leigh Shaw, I believe, also worked on Suicide Squad, if I remember correctly. You wouldn't believe how kind and funny and charming the team behind this project is. That is, until you play their gorgeous, mousy game. Why do they need Sweet Baby Inc. for consultancy and narrative design on a game about a mouse in the fucking woods? What could you possibly need to include culture for on that? Unless you're injecting an ideology with it. It makes you wonder, right? We have Viper, who on X says, stop hiring Sweet Baby Inc. and don't give me your but Game Pass nonsense. This thing is $18. And when people want a game, they buy it. This is bad. I almost argue that for an indie game, it's doing better than I expected based off of previous Sweet Baby Inc. collab indie games. But still, this is terrible. All-time max player count after launching in the first week of under 1,200 people. Not necessarily off to the best start. This is on Steam.
You're back in the forest.
This is what it is.
The road's been long. Hear my words. Hold fast.
The narration of this guy talking on the video, it's trying to portray like the coziness vibe of the game.
We are making
but man, I'm just not feeling it.
a survival game called Winter Burrow, where you play as a mouse coming back to your childhood home after years in the big city. But when you arrive, things aren't the way you left them. The burrow's falling apart, your aunt is nowhere to be found, and outside, the forest is vast and a lot harsher than you remembered. But you are a very brave little mouse, and the more you explore, the more you'll uncover. Every journey outside is a balancing act between risk and reward, so be careful. Some trails lead to friendly faces and many goodies to gather, while others to dangers you'll need to prepare for. But every single journey will help you grow a little stronger. Grass fiber is a very handy material that can be spun into yarn. Curl up in the old armchair by the fire and spend an evening knitting a cozy sweater. And maybe a new hat too, not just for comfort.
I feel like there's so much potential with this game. I just don't get why Sweet Baby needed to be involved with it. I don't.
Or a new look, but also to
because I gotta be honest, when I first heard about this, I was like, oh, that looks interesting. I'm not one really for cozy games these days.
You'll be able to take your culinary creations to a new level. Bake warm pies and biscuits to pair with some freshly brewed tea, perhaps. Keeping your belly full for all your adventures is crucial after all. On your expeditions, you'll come across different types of stone, wood, and other potentially handy materials. Perhaps you can use some of this to fix up your burrow, or mend bridges to unlock new areas. Don't forget about your parents' old crafting bench. Here, you'll be able to use these materials to create many useful tools. With an axe in your paws, collecting wood will surely be a breeze. A lantern might also come in handy on those cold, dark winter nights.
Is it just me, or when I'm watching this, I know it's going to sound ironic to say this based off of Sweet Baby Inc. being a part of it. Does it feel like there's just a bunch of check boxes, not even DEI check boxes, but almost like cozy game check boxes? Like, we want to really hammer home that this is a cozy game, so we need to make sure we hit every checkbox to include in this as a cozy game. Instead of making the game, it feels like it's going down the list of, does it include this? No, not yet. Okay, let's make it sure it does. Does it include this? Okay, let's, like, almost like a business approach to making the cozy game as opposed to just a natural experience.
Although it might seem like it at first, you're not alone in this vast winter forest. Along your travels, you'll run into other woodland creatures, some quirky, some kind, and some a little mysterious. Perhaps they will help you if you help them first.
That's a really good question too. I think this is for the quirky, outcast, non-binary, nose ring wearing dudes that identify as girls. I think that's what they're going for.
Helping Pa to unlock new cooking recipes and new crafting schematics. After every chilly adventure, you'll find solace returning to the warmth of your family's old burrow. And bit by bit, little by little, what's left of your childhood home will start to feel like a safe haven once again. Winter Burrow is a cozy survival game you can play.
That's a good point. Cozy games are for girls, and there's not enough girls for all the cozy games coming out. I think really that is just as much a reason for the failure as anything else, is market saturation for the audience that exists for it. Yeah. And if it's not doing it better than other games, then why would it sell more?
At your own pace. So get ready to curl up by the fire with this game and
B-Man really wants me to play this game. That is what it's looking like right now. As far as checking a live look on it, let me refresh this. 493 people playing this game. This is in the first week. It came out yesterday, and the second day it could not top the first day. Not a great trajectory that this is on right now, where it's hitting lower lows already on the second day and lower highs. But you never know what the weekend will bring for it. But I wouldn't hold my breath. When it comes to the reviews on this, and this is actually probably the most telling part of it, there's not enough user reviews to give a score for it. And the quote unquote professional journos give it mixed or average, 65, with negative reviews included with this, a 42 from player 2, which, very curious. Winter Burrow gives players a beautiful world to explore, but doesn't do enough with it to keep players coming back. And let's go with the highest one, an 80. 9 hours after reaching a ramble shack stump in the woods, I'd transform my home into a cheerful shelter filled with well-earned comforts gathered from across varied landscape and friends' warm regards. Its intentional approachability can err on the side of feeling too easy, but the constant looming danger of winter goes a long way towards balancing the scales. Still, the only thing I want to do right now is return to my roaring fireplace and brave the frosts in Winter Burrow. All right, that sounds like someone that got the game for free and wanted to make sure they got games for free in the future. Because who talks about a game like that? Overall, the scores for this are not great from the, like I said, the quote unquote pro journos out there. And if you can't even get them to shill for the game, you know the game sucks, especially if this is one of those SBI involved games. You would think it would be across the board higher scores because they'd want more of that in the gaming industry. That's concerning that even with SBI involved in it, that it's just brutal. It does make you wonder about the future of the game. And I will leave it at this because I thought this was curious. I don't think I've ever said anything negative. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I did. It's been a while, but I've spoken about this game before. And what I've said about Sweet Baby Inc. being connected to it was just not something that I would like to purchase or be a part of. Like, Like, I'm pretty tame with my takes when it comes to this. I feel like I'm pretty standard with it. I'm blocked by them. I'm like, damn, bro. Way to reach out and try to build a bridge and communicate. Like, nope. Block them right off the bat. Netflix says, yeah, they went on a blocking spree. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, that's Winter Burrow, Sweet Baby Inc.'s latest failure partnership. I don't know how they keep getting hired and gigs in the industry, but they do. They keep defying logic and continue to proceed with more partnerships out there. I do wonder what's next for them, because I couldn't imagine, after all these dominoes falling, that more indie studios are going to line up, or AAA studios even, and ask for their assistance in the future if DEI truly is dead. But time will tell. I'll be there to find out. Sergeant Sapient for the 5-banger. It's a cute looking game. If it wasn't for the dev blowout, it'd at least be in my backlog. I think that's the best way to put it, because the game doesn't look bad to me, but the way that they've handled their PR has been anything but good. And I'll put it this way. If I make a video and I say something that someone disagrees with, I'm open to having a conversation with them, as you guys have seen how many countless times before. What I don't like is when people just invent things that I say and say it as fact. I'm like, no, fuck you. Like, I'm not even gonna have a conversation with that person. But if I ran a game studio, I'd try to have the same approach, where I'd be like, look, I understand you have your concerns. I want to reach out to you and let you know. And it doesn't even have to be across the board, because for a game like this, I'm sure they had a lot of backlash after the Sweet Baby Inc. thing got unveiled. But to just go on a mass blocking spree instead of reaching out to a few people to calm the tides, it goes to show that they didn't give a shit. They didn't give a shit. That it's like, no, fuck you. Like, all right, I'll just keep my wallet closed then. Fuck you too. I thought you're trying to sell a game here. What the hell? It's very strange. And we got Jen Arthas for the, is that Euro? I think that's Euro. 10-banger. They say 50% of gamers are women. How many of them play these cozy games on phone? I think it's a minority who plays them other platforms. They say 48% of people play them on phones that are girls. X to doubt on that one, because no, they don't. Like I said, when I covered that before with the stats saying there's almost 50% women, I'm like, that would be like counting my wife as a gamer. My wife maybe plays 10 minutes or 20 minutes of Bejeweled or threes on her phone before she goes to bed 1 or 2 nights a week. According to their survey, that is a gamer. So no, that's why it's inherently flawed.